So today I'm with Simon Blacker, a rent-to-rent operator, and I believe you've now got 13 properties, Simon, or is it more now?
13 in the portfolio, yes.
Fantastic. And how long does it take you to get from 0 to 13?
It's been about 20 months.
Wow, fantastic. Now, along the way, I understand that you've had some legislation or regulation issues, shall we say, with one of the properties at Primrose Lane.
We have, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what those problems were, please.
Sure. So Primrose Lane was actually the first HMO licence application we were required to put in. And we had never dealt with councils before, and when they came back to us with certain things they wanted to see implemented into the house, our first thought was, yeah, sure, we'll do that, no problem, that's fine. But upon speaking with Des from Landlords Defence, he actually made us think of things very differently, and there were a few things that were requested from the council, and it was like, well, why do we need to do that? What piece of legislation is the council relying on to ask us to do that? And all of these things would have added extra cost, extra expense for literally no reason at all. So he helped us construct an argument with the council to sort of ask what their justification is on that. And needless to say, we actually won our sort of argument. We haven't had to spend the extra money in that house that they were wanting us to.
Well, that's an excellent result.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's made us think very differently now about when people ask you to do certain things. Well, why? It's a very, very interesting way of looking at it.
Brilliant. And for the viewers, what sort of things are we talking about?
So, being a HMO, the council were categorising the HMO as their interpretation of, and there was no differing kind of criteria as to why they were saying it was that when it's actually this. Mm-hmm. And as for instance, they were saying it was a bedsit based HMO. Right. And on that basis alone, they then said we need to install fridges in every single occupant's room, along with a food storage cupboard, despite the fact it's got a very large communal kitchen with 21 food storage cupboards, 3 fridge freezers, shared across 6 occupants.
So patent madness, but they were telling you that you needed to do these things.
That's correct.
Or they wouldn't give you the licence?
That's correct, yeah.
Good grief. So Des was able to take you along a route to challenge that?
That's correct.
But I guess that was because Des knew actually how the legislation worked, what the regulations really meant, and had sufficient understanding to challenge them. Is that right?
Absolutely. So Des's background, he's had a lot of experience with talking with councils, understanding the legislation himself, and the issue he finds is the councils across the country, they don't actually have that knowledge themselves. It's very much open to interpretation, mm-hmm. and there is no legislation that backs up some councils' interpretation of what they request. So there's a lack of continuity across different councils. So I believe Des's goal really is to kind of get a level playing field and make sure everybody is basically going along the same guidelines and interpretation and setting
That's going to be a long-term aim, because at the moment there's over 300 councils, yes, all with different sets of rules.
That's correct.
One set of legislation, but they've all interpreted it differently. It's absolutely amazing. Simon, that's brilliant. Thank you very much indeed.